Good morning, everyone. Today I'll be speaking to you about the effects pollution has on the world and us. Leonardo DiCaprio has been quoted saying, "This is not a partisan debate, it is a human one. Clean air and water and a livable climate are inalienable human rights, and solving this crisis is not a question of politics, it is our moral obligation." I've always been one to care for the environment, from participating in beach cleanups to joining clubs that have promoted awareness to the issue. Pollution has been a problem I've been trying to deal with for a while. Although pollution does not affect the majority of citizens in the United States today, if we continue to neglect the issue, it soon will. First, I will be speaking to you about the effects air pollution has on our environment, including ourselves. Second, I will explain how water pollution is an issue that is affecting more than just organisms in the ocean. Finally, I will talk about the consequences of too much land pollution and how it affects us and future generations. Air pollution is probably the most talked about, and for a good reason, because it affects such a wide range of things from human health to the status of our soil. With enough air pollution, the risk of having a stroke, getting some form of cancer, and even dying all rise. According to BBC News, around 5.5 million people die each year from air pollution, with the majority of them coming from manufacturing climates like India and China. The largest contributor to air pollution is by far automobiles. However, in countries like India and China, the biggest threats come from factories and power plants, where the amount of harmful pollutants produced is alarmingly high. The byproducts of fuel consumption by automobiles are either toxic chemicals or small particles, both of which, if inhaled at a high amount, can increase health problems. Air pollution not only causes problems for humans when they breathe in toxins, but also for the environment when problems in our atmosphere arise. One well-known effect of air pollution is the thinning of the protective ozone layer in the atmosphere, which blocks out a lot of the UV radiation from the sun. With the ozone layer thinning, our Earth is taking in more UV radiation, causing it to get warmer, hence the term global warming. Another example of the effect air pollution has on the environment is the Asian brown cloud, which is an almost 2-mile long thick cloud of pollutants that when present causes warming to the area it covers. Although air pollution affects a large amount of people, I think this second topic affects more people than the environment. Obviously, water pollution is terrible for the organisms living in bodies of water affected by it, but millions of people also suffer from this. In China alone, up to 300 million people are forced to live off contaminated water, which compared to the United States would be almost 95% of the entire population. Almost 70% of all of China's freshwater sources have been contaminated with industrial and/or household sewage. More than 90% of rivers that went through urban areas were contaminated beyond the point of use for drinking and irrigation. Even the United States is having problems keeping their amount of fresh water, which can be seen with the loss of wetlands in our country. Since 1780, the 48 states, not including Hawaii and Alaska, have lost almost 53% of all wetlands. Wetlands are very important when there are climate changes because they can either release water into rivers and lakes when it gets hot or soak up water when there are storms and floods. With this huge loss of wetlands, more water is put into rivers and lakes, which means more water can be contaminated and cause for illness outbreaks if untreated water gets into urban area rises. Now that you have heard about the negative effects air and water pollution have on your health, I want to bring up a different topic of mainly environmental effects from ground pollution. Although ground pollution may seem like the least serious out of these three types, there are some big consequences of over-polluted ground. The rate at which ground pollution is increasing has risen significantly since the start of the 21st century due to the increase of consumerism. Each person in the United States produces around 5 pounds of trash a day, compared to a less industrialized country like India, where citizens produce around 1.5 pounds of trash daily. With this high amount of trash being produced, topsoil, the layer that provides nutrients and support for all plants and trees, gets polluted by acid rain, which is created when trash is incinerated and pollutants are sent into the air and accumulate in clouds. Then, obviously, when it rains, the pollutants combine with the water and create acid rain. Another factor that is increasing ground pollution is industrialization. David Pimentel of Cornell University stated that topsoil is being destroyed at a rate 40% higher than that which is necessary to replenish soil due to deforestation and soil contamination from pesticides and fertilizers. Also, the World Resources Institute has stated that around 40% of the world's croplands have been degraded due to poor agricultural practices. In conclusion, without topsoil, agricultural productivity can rapidly reduce, which causes problems for not only us, but also for future generations. Even though it is hard to see the effects pollution has on the environment and other people from where we live, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be thinking about it and how we can improve. As I said, air and water pollution can be huge health threats, while land pollution can seriously hinder the Earth's productivity. All I'm asking you is to be more aware the next time you think about littering, or toss recycling in a trash can, or want to drive to a place that's walking distance away. Because every little action adds up, and it can add up to be positive or negative, and it all depends on you. Thank you for listening.